When 20-year-old Georgia Ford, a UK law student, went to her doctor about a simple heartburn problem, she didn't realize she was laying her life on the line. And you won't either when you encounter your doctor next time. You may not realize, like she did not realize, that Big Pharma has already turned medicine into something evil. And what's even worse, I've news for you, that it's working so well, they need to double down on the evil. Because this is how doctors will kill you. Georgia Ford could be your daughter, could be your sister, could be you. Could be you just going to see the doctor about something trivial. Well, not so trivial, because it's been bothering you. So you've decided you need to get it checked out. Let's check it out.
I came home from uni in Easter and got a cold. Thought it was COVID, so I got tested. It wasn't, and I was like, oh, fine. And then I went back to uni, and the cough never went away. And then gradually it just got worse and worse until I was coughing to a point where I was vomiting.
That was Easter of last year. It's not COVID, but she's clearly got something going on, and she needs it to be checked out. Let's pick up the story that was reported in the New York Post via Kennedy News. Georgia Ford had initially reported to the doctor after feeling ill with heartburn, a symptom of acid reflux, whereupon he inquired about her drinking habits. And we're already in trouble here, folks, because you see, that's where it's already about to go wrong. One of the problems with the practice of medicine now, inflicted on us by the way doctors are being trained and under-resourced, by a host of middlemen getting between you and the real doctor you're entitled to, is that they pigeonhole. And this doctor's about to pigeonhole her, and badly, and to her great detriment. Here you go. So, well, they were like, do you drink a lot? And I was like, yeah, obviously I do. So they put me on these stomach lining protection tablets, recalled Ford. Another bad move. I'll come back on this one here. Stomach lining protection tablets, the slippery slope that's part of the evil we're up against. But just let's get on with the sheer simple incompetence that's going on here, and we can come back to some of the other stuff. So she was prescribed medication to quell the acid reflux, presuming that she's drinking too much and this is causing acid reflux. Big presumption. But there are other symptoms she had, and which she'd been talking about, such as pains in her back. And they chalked that up to muscle spasms, and that cough got so severe it would sap her breath and make her vomit. She started to lose weight then, and she's not holding on to food very well, and she's getting desperate now because she's going nowhere. The doctors don't believe that she has a serious condition. She goes to the GP a number of times, and every time they try something new and it doesn't work, and they basically said that this was all in my head and I wasn't ill at all. Didn't take them long to get there, folks, did it? Didn't take them long to get there. Where now they're starting to blame her because they can't solve this. Are they trying to solve this? I put it to you, they're not. And this is a symptom of the degeneration we've seen in the medical profession. Because this is multiple consultations with a GP, multiple consultations with ER, and hospitals, plural. And she's getting nowhere. So she reports to the ER, they find cloudy patches on her lungs. And even that's not enough to cause them to have any alarm, and they put her on a 3-month waiting list to get it checked out. That's not going to work. She's losing weight. She's lost more than 20 pounds. She's got nowhere left to turn. She books an appointment with a private practice physician who in November 2021, 6 months or more later, diagnosed her with papillary renal cell carcinoma. And by the time it was detected, it had already spread throughout her body, prompting these symptoms like her mysterious cough that nobody could seem to figure out. There are very few times in my life where I've been speechless, Ford said, of the moment she learned of her diagnosis. It's just this overwhelming sadness. Indeed. And she is on therapy and she is on chemo and she is doing okay, and she hopes to go back and complete her law student studies. And we will have a happy ending, I hope, to this case. Let's have a look at some of the things that went wrong here. What happened to this poor, unfortunate young woman at the hands of modern medicine. Eminently treatable condition, eminently treatable. 1 in 6 kidney cancers are this. And she fell right through. And you can see where it went wrong. Let's just start with the sheer stupidity of it all. That it took somebody who had been tasked with the task of actually setting about finding out what was wrong with her, who could do it. And it wasn't that hard. You could put it together. But they didn't do it. And one of the reasons is that the doctor you think that you have doesn't exist anymore. Because that doctor had 30 minutes to talk to you. And the doctor you have has 7. That's the problem. And you can't do it in 7. It's difficult enough to do in 30 with all the propaganda that doctors have been subjected to. But at least in the past, at least in the era of Marcus Welby MD, way back when, you can Google it. I've got, that's actually her on a good day as well, before all this, But back in the era of Marcus Welby MD, when we actually had some kind of a medical system where a doctor could, that's a 1970s show about a doctor practicing in rural areas, trying to treat people as individuals and not just, be part of just a piece of machinery. You see, that the battle and debate was going on in the 70s because there was an activist press which had exposed all of the malfeasance of the pharmaceutical industry. And that's all gone. And we have layers and layers and layers of bureaucracy so that you don't get that 30 minutes anymore, that you don't get the time required, and that's simply not enough to get the job done. And the result is what happened to Georgia Ford and will happen to you. That's the state of medicine, where you go through 7 doctors to get to the one who actually knows what they're doing, and that's when it's difficult. Some of the more regular stuff, you don't even realize how bad that is. The stuff like heart disease and cancer, all eminently solvable, all eminently treatable, all outside the scope of the model within which doctors are now operating. The next level of, sheer error was when they started talking about stomach lining tablets. So they've taken an already bad situation where 80% of the spend in medicine goes in gerontology. That's the, later years. So, that's gobbling up 80% of the budget before we go anywhere. We're just never going to get anywhere unless we stop the flood of people into old age, which is going to eat up all the budget. And this is where the evil is doubling down, right? Because that equation, those scales don't balance anymore. But let's get there through what they're next doing and have done. It's as if the evil wasn't bad enough, destroying that at the same time. Suppose she does have a drinking problem, right? And they're going to give her the stomach protection tablets, not as a temporary solution, which is all they are, because they destroy the way you digest food, and they mean that your nutrition is no longer optimal, and they have other long-term effects. They're not meant to be used long-term, but they are. All of these drugs they bring in are not meant to be used. All drugs are not meant to be used long-term, and yet they're used long-term systematically. So what happens when you enable someone to continue their drinking? By giving them the tablets. Well, before long, they're back into you, and they've got other problems. They've got gut problems. They've got digestive problems. They've got immunological problems. They've got C-reactive protein. They've got inflammatory processes. These are going on. So then you bring in medicines. Well, I'll tell you what, we've got another layer of drugs. We'll sort that out for you. And they give you the next layer of drugs. Now, you've got serious problems. Maybe it's not overdrinking. Maybe it's actual problems arising out of your diet or whatever. But no problem. We've got these other drugs we can give you now, which will suppress those symptoms. Just like the acid reflux tablets suppress the fact that your stomach just doesn't want to handle what you're eating, that your body is screaming at you to stop doing what you're doing. We're going to suppress all that and enable the evil to continue. And then when you come back in, you've got psoriasis patches breaking out all over your body. Don't worry. This is what medicine's here for. It's only here to serve you. Our researchers have another layer of tablet we've just discovered. We can turn off the psoriasis. Party on, baby. Party on, because we're here to enable disease at a price. And now we see where it all moves to sheer evil. Because what they're about to do now is take this formulaic system which cannot respond, which serves these young women and you badly, and they're going to really do a job in it. They're going to enable your local pharmacist to write most of the prescriptions. I mean, they've taken all of the authority away from the doctor anyway. All he does is follow the script now, because that's how they brainwashed them in medical school. The medical school's got two objectives: to train doctors and to indoctrinate them. The two processes run concurrently. The indoctrination is achieved by overwork, stress, and relentless hammering of information in to destroy critical capabilities which are not enhanced at all, as you see from what happened to Georgia Ford. It's just gotten worse than all that. So they're just going to turn the doctor into somebody you maybe see online for a few minutes. It's all worked out already. You just do your bloods. Yeah, everything's worked out. Nobody's going to question whether any of this stuff is the right way to do things anymore. Nobody's going to ask that question anymore, because they're going to de-skill the whole structure. And now I'll remind you about the fact that they wanted to get rid of the people out of the medical profession and in the medical system who ask questions about the jab. Remember that? Imagine a medical profession which did that to Georgia Ford, right? Which did that to her and took her from this young woman who, had her life ahead of her to somebody who's potentially on her deathbed if they didn't get to her, if that one doctor hadn't gotten to her. Well, they're going to have to deal with the other end of the scale. That's what they're going to have to do. The other side of the scales. You see, it's worked too well. The way medicine's being practiced is going to produce a tsunami of Georgia Fords heading into gerontology. And gerontology is 80% of the budget. The thing will blow up. Going to have to start to cut short on the gerontological side thing. Make the hard choices, Make the hard choices. The ones that are in the whole community's interest. Because we're all in this together. I mean, if we can't afford all this gerontological tsunami, well, then we're going to have to give people the right to a dignified ending to their life. I think that's the marketing. It's end of life with dignity. We'll work on it. The advertising people are standing by. The governments are already captured. The paradigm is being rolled out. That's why medicine has been turned into a doctrinaire system, because they don't want any opposition to the mindless, pigeonholed, dumb, downright evil system that's capable of doing this to you, to your people, to the people you love, to your children, to your mother, to your father, to your brother, to your sister. And they're doing it all the time, and it's only going to get worse. It's time to dig up those old Marcus Welby videos. It's time to get back to that battle that took place in the 70s as a wave of citizen journalism, left-wing citizen journalism at the time, before left became establishment, which left us defenseless. We need to reinvent that. We need to take back medicine. Mostly by walking away from it, because we have the skill sets and knowledge to walk away now, and the doctors on our side who've already broken ranks. It's just a question of building effective alternative structures that don't kill people. All right. /rant. That's it for this edition of The Beautiful Truth on the 13th of May. At coming up now to 6 p.m. GMT. And I'll be back very soon with more. Including the story of how I almost hit the kind of fate Georgia Poor it. In the last few weeks, actually, including a little stay in ER and a blood pressure spike that no one could solve, but fortunately, because I spent so much time reading all this stuff, I managed to figure out. Otherwise, who knows? Story of that and more, and also of the implications of where medicine is headed to. Back with all of that very soon. Hope you can join me for that. Thanks for being here for this one. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.